Hello everyone, welcome to my kitchen. I hope you are all doing good. Today I show you how to make this savory chin or party style fried chips with a twist. And guess what? We are using some coconuts for this. If you are new, you are welcome to Vikki in the kitchen. Let's get into it. So like I said earlier, we are going to use coconuts. This is dry coconut. What we are going to do is we are going to break this and then get out the coconut, and then we'll chop it into blendable pieces depending on your blender's capacity. So this is what I have. I'm going to blend this with 1.5 cup of water and then sieve it to extract the milk from the chaff. After everything, this is what I have. I had this, so I'll set it aside, and also I'll be using about 1/4 cup of the coconut chaff for this. We'll also be making use of half of a medium onion and then 1 piece of garlic. I've grated this nicely, and this is what we have. You can also blend yours as well. Once that is out of the way, we are going to go ahead and get our mixing bowl. Add in 2 cups of soft flour, or you can use all-purpose flour as well. We are also adding some sugar for a touch or a hint of that sweetness, then some salt and baking powder. Give this a very good mix so that everything combines beautifully, because if you are using all-purpose flour, for example, when you knead the dough, you may not be able to knead it too much, or else it will be overworked. Okay, so mix it well at this stage. I'm also adding some margarine. You can also use butter and it works perfectly. Once you add that in, you want to mix this until a breadcrumb consistency is achieved. Once you achieve the breadcrumb consistency, you want to make a well in the center and then go in with your onion and garlic blend. You can also add the coconut chaff or omit it if you do not want it, but it adds a nice flavor. Then you want to go in with about 1/2 cup of coconut milk. You can add it little by little just to be sure of the texture you are getting. Then you want to go ahead and mix this either with your hand, or I try to mix this with a spatula until it gets a bit difficult to mix before I use my hand. Okay, so you want to knead this until it's nice and well combined. If it's a bit sticky, you can add about 1 tablespoon of flour and then mix it together. Once it's nice and well kneaded, you want to go and divide it into 2 equal portions so that you can work on it as such. You would use your plastic wrap to wrap the bowl or the dough itself, and then let it rest for about 15 minutes on your countertop. And then once we are back, our dough would have rested, so you can take off the plastic wrap. Then you flour your work surface so that we can begin to work with the dough. It's also important to flour the dough because it can tend to get sticky whilst you are working on it. So with your rolling pin, you want to roll this to your desired thinness, flouring it from time to time if it gets a bit sticky. Okay, so this is the thinness I am going for. So going forward, you can see I'm still flouring this because I'm going to use a particular method. Okay, so with my knife, I'm going to divide this into 3 portions. This is because I want my chips not to be too long, but also not to be too short. So once I cut them, I'm going to layer them one on top of the other. And then with my knife, I am going to cut them into my desired thinness. Okay, now there are so many different ways of doing this. You don't have to necessarily stack them on top of each other. You can just cut them and then use your scissors to cut it one by one until you are done. You can also use your pasta maker. You can run it through your pasta maker and then cut it as long and as short as you want. So I'm using 2 methods. After this method, I'm going to show you what to do. So after everything, you want to flour your tray or a plate. With this, I'm using my flour chopping board, and then separate the various pieces. Okay, Make sure that as you're separating them, you flour the dough so that it doesn't stick to each other. So I want to use this opportunity to thank all my returning subscribers for your love and support on the channel. Thank you for liking, sharing, commenting. I am so grateful. And to you who is new on the channel, if you love food content like this, why don't you consider subscribing and joining our amazing family? Thank you so much for doing that. With our second method, we are going to be using the pizza cutter. You want to cut it into the various portions according to how long or short you want your chips to be. Then you run it through it this way. And it's so easy. You don't need to stress yourself much, okay? And also, once you are able to go through everything, you want to flour the doughs to make sure that they don't stick to one another. Then you can now see how easy it is to separate them. So you want to pack this onto your flour tray or plate, and then it is ready for frying. So to your pan under medium heat, you are going to add enough oil to fry, because we are going to deep fry this. If you do not have a lot of oil, then use a smaller pan, okay? We are going to check if the oil is nice and hot by dropping in just a piece. So if the oil bubbles up and then the dough floats to the top, then it means the oil is nice and hot. So you want to add enough of the dough to the oil, but don't overcrowd the pan, because you need enough space to be able to fry everything evenly. So once it is in the hot oil, it will float to the top after some time, okay? But don't stir it vigorously in the beginning, because if you do that, you are going to fold them, unless of course you want them to be folded. But just for presentation purpose, you want to just stir it gently, okay? Then after some time, it will become hard enough for you to stir it vigorously. I hope you are seeing what I'm talking about. So you have to just keep stirring it from time to time so that it can fry evenly. You want it to get nice and golden brown, and also make sure you are regulating the heat so that it doesn't fry too fast, okay? So once we are done, this is what mine looks like. I'm going to take it off the heat now so that it can cool down nicely. I'll put it in a strainer to strain all the excess oil. I fried this about 3 times in 3 batches, but if you have a bigger pan, you can fry it all at once. And this is what we have. So once it cools down, it becomes really nice and crunchy. Let me know in the comments section what you think about this recipe, and I'll be glad to read all your nice comments. So until I post my next video, remember God loves you and has a great plan for your life. Bye!